The viral footage shows BigXThaPlug allegedly shooting his close friend Z the Wizard in the head inside a Dallas club on New Year's Day 2026. The clip is dark, shaky, and shocking, and people online can't stop replaying it. Z the Wizard, who had just been signed to Future's Free Band's label, was left fighting for his life after the chaos broke out. Shots rang through the Pink House Dallas, and 5 people were hit as panic exploded across the venue. Now the footage is running wild online, pulling massive views as everyone asks the same question. How did the night turn this ugly so fast? The Pink House Dallas was hosting its grand opening on New Year's Eve 2025. The after-hours spot, tucked near Empire Central and North Stemmons Freeway, had stacked the lineup with local talent for what was supposed to be a major celebration. 2 of the biggest names pulling up were BigXThaPlug and Z the Wizard, and the city knew it was about to be a movie.
Fine.
What I'm hearing right now, I'm hearing that he's still in critical condition.
The whole situation.
BigXThaPlug, legally named Xavier Landrum, had been on a serious run for the past 2 years. He built himself into one of the coldest names in Texas rap, no debate. His track Texas went gold and stacked over 330 million streams. By late 2025, he was crossing lanes, working with country stars like Luke Combs, Jelly Roll, and Bailey Zimmerman on the album I Hope You're Happy, blending Southern trap with Nashville vibes. Z the Wizard, born Zachary Cannon Grant Fields, was just 25 years old. Raised in Oak Cliff, South Dallas, he was coming up fast and finally seeing his moment shine.
Tape.
Really imagine grand opening and grand closing the same day.
Z the Wizard came from a place where you had to stay sharp every day. His road to music didn't start by choice. It started after a serious sports injury shut down his athletic dreams cold. With no backup plan, he flipped the pain into pressure and ran straight to the mic. By late 2024, he was already dropping tracks, pushing projects like Hood Prophet and bangers such as Boss Nah, 4 for 4, and Chevy. His sound stayed locked in on motivation, grinding and surviving, all about stacking bread from nothing and turning struggle into progress. By summer 2025, the Dallas Observer named him one of the top 20 rappers to watch in the DFW. That stamp made noise. Then in August 2025, Z the Wizard signed to Future's Free Band's label, and that was a real game changer. That kind of deal meant he was about to jump from hood famous to mainstream, no shortcuts. He was already getting respect from big names like G Herbo and Rod Wave, and the streets were watching closely. Mo3's manager Rainwater even called him incredibly talented and said he had the potential to take over the whole city. Both Z and Big X were tied into what Dallas called the New Dallas movement. This wasn't about beef or old drama. It was a group of young artists pushing unity, trying to change the energy instead of feeding into chaos. Names tied to the movement included Zillionaire Doe, Montana 700, and Timothy Chung. These were artists from different neighborhoods, some with history, some with past tension, but the goal was simple. Instead of clashing, they chose to hold each other down and move forward together. They showed love by pulling up to each other's shows, pushing each other's records, and moving like one tight unit. That unity wasn't random. It was a direct response to what happened to the Dallas rap OGs before them. The city had already seen how street drama tore everything apart. Mo3 was killed in 2020, and the fallout shook the entire scene. Yellow Beezy later faced serious legal trouble connected to Mo3's case, and after that, the culture felt split down the middle. Artists picked sides, tension stayed high, and nobody wanted history repeating itself. On New Year's Eve, Z the Wizard was booked to perform at the Pink House Dallas for its grand opening. According to people close to him, he hit the stage right before midnight and rocked the crowd hard.
Smoked.
Because if you won't use your celebrity to, take the revenue and the income and change your address and to help your grandmother and your mother and your children and so forth and so on, then what are you doing it for?
His own family was inside the building, watching him shine during one of the biggest moments of his career. After his set wrapped up, his family headed out. Z the Wizard stayed behind to keep celebrating with BigXThaPlug and the rest of the crew. The energy inside the club was pure vibes, no tension in sight. Earlier footage showed both rappers turning up, smiling, and enjoying the night. Z the Wizard was throwing money, showing love to the dancers, while BigXThaPlug had his section locked down with bottles everywhere. The crowd was lit, the music was loud, and the whole night felt like a movie. Then around 3:45 a.m. on January 1st, 2026, everything flipped in seconds. Dallas police got calls about shots fired in the parking lot after the crowd started clearing out. When officers arrived, the scene was empty, but the damage was done. 5 people had been hit by gunfire. One victim was in critical condition, and that was Z the Wizard. Family members later told WFAA that he had been struck multiple times, leaving the city in shock.
The conversation for the artist is find your why. Why are you rapping? Why are you making music? Is it just to be heard? Is it to make a better life?
Word around the scene was that Z the Wizard had been hit in the head. He was rushed to the hospital immediately, where doctors listed him in critical condition without hesitation. Those chaotic minutes right after the shooting were caught on camera, and that footage would soon flood the entire internet. The viral clip shows BigXThaPlug outside the venue, clearly shaken, trying to process what just happened to his close friend. You could see the confusion all over his face, like his mind was racing faster than his body could keep up. That video spread across social media within hours. BigXThaPlug, wearing an orange jacket, was seen leaning against a car in the pink-lit parking lot. In the background, you can hear him say the words that would be replayed non-stop. They shot Z in the head, and that single line sent shockwaves through the culture. BigXThaPlug wasn't hit, but his reaction told the whole story. The shock, the disbelief, that frozen moment when reality finally hits you hard.
I can't say that I was shocked, but I'm deeply saddened. Senseless killings of young people are never welcome. And people who are in the hip hop community, especially in Dallas-Fort Worth,
that image became the face of the entire situation as the clip went viral and speculation started flying everywhere. Within hours, a whole new kind of chaos erupted online. People began posting that Z the Wizard had passed away, even though there was no official confirmation. The false information spread fast, moving quicker than any update from police or doctors. By the morning of January 1st, 2026, RIP posts flooded X, Instagram, and TikTok. Fans were grieving someone who, at that moment, was still alive. One unverified post turned into hundreds, then thousands, as blogs and hip-hop pages ran with rumors instead of facts, turning confusion into full-blown misinformation. The false reports turned into a full-blown nightmare for Z the Wizard's family. While they were already dealing with the reality that their loved one was on life support, they now had to fight non-stop lies spreading online. Instead of peace and focus, they were stuck correcting rumors while praying for his survival.
They walk up to him. Whatever they asked him, Z the Wizard stole off one of them. Next thing you know, they start fighting. Dude that was with the suspect, he pulled out a blick, started shooting at the whole club.
Montana 700, one of Z, the Wizard's day one friends and a core member of the New Dallas movement, was one of the first to shut the nonsense down. He took to his story, thanking people for the love while making sure the truth was clear. His message was crystal clear. Z the Wizard ain't dead, he told everyone straight up. He explained that Z was on life support and still fighting for his life, and asked people to stop spreading fake news. But the damage from the early cap had already spread too far. A lot of people who saw the first post claiming he passed never saw the corrections. By January 3rd, 2026, WFAA confirmed that Z the Wizard was still alive and hospitalized on life support.
They walk up to him. Whatever they asked him, Z the Wizard stole off one of them. Next thing you know, they start fighting. Dude that was with the suspect, he pulled out a blick, started shooting at the whole club.
The family spoke directly with reporters to clear the air. They said they were staying hopeful about his recovery while asking the public for prayers and privacy during the hardest moment of their lives. Things at the hospital got complicated fast. Dallas police added extra security to manage the growing crowd that kept pulling up. Random fans who never even met Z in person were trying to get access, while even extended family members were turned away. Police cited safety concerns as detectives continued their investigation. Despite the tension, the family expressed gratitude toward Dallas PD for protecting them and helping keep everyone safe during such a fragile situation. The focus shifted to protecting the hospital staff so they could actually do their jobs without all the extra noise. Hemo Chung, another New Dallas artist who was close with Z the Wizard, jumped on Instagram asking people to fall back and stop flooding the hospital. The message stayed the same across Z's entire circle. Let the doctors work, let the family breathe, and stop running with info that ain't verified. Everybody was begging for calm while the situation stayed fragile. The whole moment exposed just how reckless social media gets when shootings happen. Information moved way faster than facts. Emotional reactions beat real reporting every time.
Haters.
That's where your first fights happen. That's where your first haters come from. That's where you're gonna fail the most and succeed the most, but also at the same time, that's where you're gonna be overly hated.
And another.
The same apps that helped push Zit the Wizard's music were now spreading lies about him being gone. Before his family could even process the trauma, the internet had already written its own version of the story. And sadly, this wasn't new. It had happened before with other artists, other shootings, and other tragedies. But the speed of this one shocked people. Z, the Wizard story went from Dallas club shooting to rising rapper got smoked in hours. Once the internet locked in that narrative, it didn't care about updates or corrections. A lot of people pointed out the twisted irony in all of it. Folks were just now tapping into Zeke the Wizard's music because of the shooting. His name was trending, streams were climbing, and his tracks were landing on playlists everywhere. But all that attention came at the worst possible moment. For the family, none of that mattered. They weren't thinking about numbers or clout. They were focused on one thing only, hoping Z would survive.
The Wiz one of the ones. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get to talk. My nigga Wiz one of the ones. One of the ones. Versatile.
The family was fighting two wars at the same time. One was a real medical crisis happening minute by minute, and the other was a public narrative that kept slipping out of their control. Every hour brought new posts, new claims, and new nonsense, forcing them to keep reminding the world that their son, their brother, their homie was still alive. Just confirming that truth took energy they barely had. As the days passed after the shooting, only immediate family was allowed inside his hospital room. No crowds, no outsiders, no exceptions. The same rapper who had been on stage just hours earlier, throwing money and rocking a crowd that included his own family, was now surrounded by only his closest people. Meanwhile, thousands of strangers online were arguing over whether he was still breathing. The confusion dragged on for days, but the family's message never changed. Z, the Wizard, was fighting. He wasn't gone. And they needed people to respect that reality, even while the internet seemed determined to write a different ending. At the same time, the details of what really happened that night stayed cloudy. What popped off inside and outside the Pink House Dallas in the early hours of January 1st, 2026, was still unclear. Dallas police stayed tight-lipped, keeping their cards close. Most of what circulated online came from eyewitness accounts that couldn't be verified. Rumors kept flying, but confirmed facts stayed limited. What was officially known came straight from law enforcement. Officers responded to reports of gunfire at the Pink House around 3:45 a.m. on January 1st, 2026. Everything beyond that was still under investigation, with major questions left unanswered. When police arrived at the scene, the venue was already cleared out, meaning the shooting was over before officers even pulled up. 5 people had been hit by gunfire, and 1 victim was listed in critical condition, later identified as Z the Wizard.
The incident seems that it could have most likely been targeting BigXThaPlug or someone from that entourage.
The Dallas police confirmed the shooting started after some kind of altercation, but that's where the details stopped. They didn't explain what the disagreement was about, who was involved, or what pushed the situation to turn violent. No suspects were named. Police didn't confirm whether anyone was targeted or if victims were hit by stray bullets. They also didn't confirm a motive. Everything beyond those basic facts stayed locked down. Eyewitness stories started flooding social media and YouTube, painting a much messier picture. But none of those accounts were officially verified, and a lot of them conflicted with each other. Some people claimed an opposing group approached Z the Wizard and words were exchanged.
When 4 people get shot outside of your club and 1 person is hit in the head and in critical condition, I think it's a little bit
tweaking,
off-putting
to be putting that shit on
post to Instagram how much money the club made.
According to those stories, things escalated fast, hands were thrown, and the tension popped off. Others said Z the Wizard was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. When firearms came out, chaos took over, and people scattered in every direction. One version claimed the shooters ran back to their vehicle, grabbed more weapons, then returned firing as people fled. Another story suggested shots came from multiple directions during the panic. There was even talk online that someone from Z the Wizard's own circle might have fired back, with speculation about possible friendly fire. But many pushed back hard on that idea. People pointed out that Z was reportedly hit multiple times, which doesn't line up with a single accidental shot. None of those claims were backed by police, leaving the truth buried under layers of rumors. As of then, everything outside official statements stayed unconfirmed, and the real story remained full of unanswered questions. The venue itself quickly became part of the controversy. Pink House Dallas was brand new. So new that New Year's Eve was literally its very first night open to the public. The timing couldn't have been worse. A business launching with a party that ended in shell casings and crime scene tapes shocked the city. People started calling it a grand opening and grand closing all in the same night, and that line stuck hard. Almost immediately, questions started flying about security. How did weapons make it inside or stay so accessible in the parking lot? Who was checking guests at the door? What kind of protocols were in place once tension started rising? The club's Instagram only added fuel to the outrage. After the shooting, Pink House posted about how much money their dancers made that night, celebrating the bag like nothing had happened.
The New Dallas movement won't work, and here's why. The New Dallas movement is about pushing peace and unity between all sides. The reason it won't work is simple. Dallas doesn't have that type of culture.
With one of the performer's close friends fighting for his life, people saw the post as wildly disrespectful. As for BigXThaPlug, multiple people confirmed he was inside when shots rang out. One breakdown claimed he ducked behind the bar when everything popped off. According to that story, a bartender told him to stay low until things calmed down, and he didn't move until someone gave the all clear. Speculation started flying that BigXThaPlug might have been the real target. His name carried way more weight than Z the Wizards at the time. If someone wanted attention, going after the biggest name in the building would have made sense. But that theory stayed just that, speculation. Police never confirmed any specific target, and there was no evidence showing either rapper was lined up. Law enforcement stayed silent on that angle, leaving the question wide open. Based on what's actually been confirmed, the incident may have been aimed at BigXThaPlug or someone from his circle, but nothing about that has been proven. What the evidence really points to is pure chaos. Multiple people were hit in a tight time frame, the shooters vanished before police arrived, and the most critically injured victim ended up being a 25-year-old rapper who was supposed to be celebrating the start of his breakout year. Instead of a come-up moment, Z the Wizard's night turned into a fight for his life. What should have been a victory lap became a nightmare in minutes. The shooting at Pink House Dallas didn't happen in a vacuum.
That was multiple times. Then I don't think that story makes sense. Then they said it was his homie. It was like friendly fire, but that story don't really make sense if he got hit multiple times.
It went down in a city with a long, complicated, and sometimes deadly relationship with its own rap scene. Dallas is packed with talent, but too often that talent gets cut short. The city has produced artists who've gone national and global, but the road has never been smooth. Mo3 was one of the biggest, known for tracks like Outside and his collab project with Boozy Badaz. His murder in November 2020 shook Dallas to its core. Mo3 was killed on the highway in broad daylight, and the case drew national attention fast. The fallout changed everything. Yellow Beezy, another major Dallas rapper, later got tied to that case. By 2025, he was facing murder charges connected to Mo3's death. Those allegations shattered what had once been a solid bond. The tension between their camps split the Dallas music scene right down the middle. That divide still lingers, hanging over the city every time another shooting makes headlines.
But why is it in hip-hop we just can't enjoy the art? Why do we have to live out whatever we're talking about?
The New Dallas movement was born as a direct response to all that division. Young artists who watched the Mo3 and Yellow Beezy fallout decided they wanted to move different. They were tired of seeing careers end early and lives lost over old beef. The mission was simple but powerful. Dallas rappers holding each other down, collaborating, and winning together without drama turning deadly. No more feeding cycles that left bodies on the pavement and dreams unfinished.
I heard crossfire, then I heard he got into an altercation. He was arguing with some guys. 4 of his friends got guns from the car, 2 pistols and 2 ARs.
The Wizard became one of the main faces of that movement. Alongside artists like Zillionaire Doe, Montana 700, and others, he stood for a new way forward. These artists came from completely different blocks. Fort Deuce, Woodtown, Pleasant Grove, neighborhoods that had real history and real tension going back years. Some of their families had beef before they were even born. But the movement made the code clear: leave that old static where it belongs in the past. Not everybody believed it would work, though.
As you're going to see, the caption says BigXThaPlug and Z the Wizard in Dallas for New Year.
Skeptics pointed to Dallas's long history of division, heavy hood pride, and a music scene that too often eats its own. Online debates popped off comparing Dallas to cities like Houston, Atlanta, and the Bay. In those places, rappers from different neighborhoods found ways to coexist and build together. Critics argued Dallas just wasn't built like that.
It's really love between these crews. We're really trying to do something new and positive with this new generation.
After the shooting, music executive Torrance Burnett spoke with WFAA and addressed what the violence meant for Dallas artists. He raised a question that's haunted hip-hop for decades. Why do people demand rappers actually live what they rap about?
Thank you to everyone. We appreciate you all the love y'all got for Z. There has been misinformation floating around. As of now, Z is still fighting, praying that he bounces back and on full recovery.
Actors play drug dealers, doctors, and cops, and nobody expects them to be real criminals or real surgeons. That double standard, Burnett said, keeps pushing artists toward danger instead of letting them just be artists. In hip-hop, that pressure to be authentic still pushes artists to stay tied to streets that can get them killed. That expectation weighs heavy, especially when success starts showing up and eyes start watching. By every account from people who knew him, Z the Wizard wasn't moving reckless or chasing crash-out energy. His music stayed focused on grinding, hustling, and building something better from the ground up. No dummy moves, no reckless image. Off the mic, he was even more solid. Z was working with kids in the community, coaching sports and mentoring younger people trying to find direction. Folks close to him said he earned everything through talent and work ethic, not violence or street politics. But the streets don't care about your intentions. A club doesn't check your lyrics before deciding if you're a target. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time can still end everything.
He said they shot Z in the head.
Your career, your future, your life. That harsh reality became the main takeaway for a lot of commentators after the shooting. Many came to the same conclusion. The smartest move for an artist is often to leave their hometown. In your city, there's history. People know your past, your block, who you used to run with. And sometimes they never let that go. Even if you've moved on, others might not have. Success can breed jealousy, resentment, and dangerous attention.
It's 2025 and you still got dudes arguing over who can claim East Dallas, LMAO. Dudes are debating whether or not Highland Hills is Oak Cliff.
In another city, you're just another rapper. You move more cautious because you don't know anyone. Back home, comfort can turn into slipping, and slipping can turn fatal. In the days after the shooting, the focus shifted. It wasn't just about what happened anymore. It became about Z the Wizard's recovery, the future of the new Dallas movement, what this meant for BigXThaPlug and what it all said about hip-hop, nightlife, and survival in the culture. Z the Wizard was still on life support. His family stayed solid, repeating the same message over and reminding everyone he was fighting. They stayed hopeful, but they needed space, prayers, and respect while the situation stayed critical. Hospital security stayed tight. Dallas police continued managing the crowds and keeping people back. Even extended family members who just wanted to check on him were turned away, all because of safety concerns and the ongoing investigation. BigXThaPlug, who had watched his day one get hit on what was supposed to be a night of celebration, stayed mostly silent publicly. He didn't run to socials or drop statements. The only thing people kept seeing was that viral clip. That footage of his reaction stayed glued to the story.
Mode 3 obviously lost his life and they're still trying to get justice for what happened to Mode 3.
The confusion, the shock, the pain on his face. That moment when reality hits and you realize someone just tried to take your homie out kept looping across every platform. As the days passed, the investigation still hadn't produced any public arrests. Dallas police kept repeating that the shooting stemmed from an altercation, but the specifics stayed unclear. Who would face charges, if anyone, and for what reason was still up in the air? For the new Dallas movement, the shooting felt like a serious test. The whole point of the collective was proving the next generation could move smarter, that they could support each other, avoid old beefs, and build something that actually lasted. Is the Wizard getting hit, no matter the cause, forced some uncomfortable questions. If violence can still reach you even when you're pushing unity, people started wondering whether that vision could really survive in the city, especially if the shooting turned out to be random. If this was just a dumb club altercation that had nothing to do with Z, the Wizard's music, or who he ran with, then it became an even scarier reminder. Violence can find anybody, no matter how clean you try to move.
I hate when I just hear about a rapper because he got killed.
And if it was targeted, tied to his rise, his affiliations, or some unknown issue, then the message hit even harder. Even rappers pushing positivity aren't always able to escape the pull of the streets. The hip-hop community reacted the way it usually does in moments like this. Calls for peace started flooding timelines. Artists and fans shared grief, questioned club security, and reflected on how dangerous nightlife can get when money, fame, and egos mix. Torrance Burnett's comments captured what a lot of people in the industry were already thinking.
Clear.
And BigXThaPlug, he instantly, he ducked for cover. He instantly ran behind the bar. Next thing you know, the bartender told him to stay down.
Some folks.
If you're chasing a rap dream, you've got to define what success really looks like. And part of that plan has to include getting away from environments that can get you taken out. The Wizard was already moving in that direction. He had the major label deal. He had momentum. He was lining himself up to move past Dallas, tour nationally, and build generational wealth that could change his whole family's situation.
Droid.
The Mo3 Yella Beezy beef had kind of destroyed the Dallas music scene to a certain extent. And, you know, this was essentially going to be a new generation, a whole new wave.
The shooting stopped that trajectory at the worst possible moment. Everything paused in an instant. The situation also put fresh attention on BigXThaPlug's own history with law enforcement. He had been arrested twice in 2025, once in February and again in August, both related to possession issues. Neither case involved violence.
You can see, you know, it seemed like a celebratory mood in the...
But they highlighted the constant legal risk artists face in Texas, especially when success keeps them in close contact with environments where one wrong night can change everything. In Texas, where weed is still illegal and having a firearm while carrying can land you in serious trouble, the stakes stay high. Big X. The Plug being at the Pink House during the shooting, making it out unharmed but clearly shaken, added another heavy chapter to his story. He built his career on keeping it honest about street life.
That was him on the floor?
I think the last thing you hear him say is that was him.
But now, that same life had tried to take someone he loved right in front of him. What should have been the start of a fresh year turned into a nightmare as New Year's Day 2026 bled straight into weeks of uncertainty. Once the immediate shock faded, bigger questions took over. Was Z the Wizard going to pull through? Were the shooters going to be identified and arrested? Was the new Dallas movement strong enough to survive this moment, or would it crack like scenes before it? There were no easy answers. There never are when things go down like this. What remained burned into everyone's mind was that footage.
My neighborhood and his neighborhood grew up beefing with each other. You know what I'm saying? My pops and his OG and them beefing with each other, man. We run this back.
Not every.
Big X. The Plug standing outside the club in the early morning hours, realizing his homie had taken a headshot, his voice full of shock and pain, saying words millions would replay across social media. They shot Z in the head. What just happened? That clip, more than any breakdown or commentary, captured the raw reality of the moment. A celebration ended in gunfire. A rising artist was fighting for his life. And the footage went viral because that's how the internet works now. It spreads fast, it gets consumed, then the world scrolls forward, already moving toward the next tragedy, while the people closest to the pain are left to live with it.
So as you heard him say, he said they shot Z in the head. What the F?
For the people at the center of this story, Z the Wizard in a hospital bed, his family holding vigil, and BigXThaPlug still processing what he witnessed, this was never content. That viral moment wasn't entertainment. It was real life, real pain, and real consequences playing out in real time. If this story made you think, hit you emotionally, or opened your eyes, show support the right way. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment with your thoughts and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more deep dives like this, click one of the cards on your screen right now and keep rocking with us.